Hi everyone, I'm Katie here at Wilton, and today's video is for all you chocolate lovers out there, myself included. Today I'm going to show you how to make a delicious homemade chocolate cake. If you're used to box cake mixes, this is the perfect recipe to start with. It's super easy and pretty foolproof, which means it's great for beginners. Now, chocolate cake is actually my absolute favorite. It's what I always make for myself on my birthday. Yes, I make my own cake, so I have pretty high standards, and this recipe totally checks all the boxes for me. It's light and fluffy and just a really great chocolate cake, and I'd really like some right now. So let's get started. Before we do, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. First, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit with your rack in the center position. Now, you know your oven best. I keep an oven thermometer in mine just because an accurate reading will save you from a whole bunch of problems. If your oven runs too hot, your cake could overbake and become dry, or it could bake too quickly, leaving you with a gooey center and overdone edges. So if you really want that perfect bake, just get to know your oven a little better. You also want to make sure that you use the proper cake pan size for the recipe. This recipe calls for two 9-inch round pans. If you need to use a different size, you might need to adjust the recipe or the baking time a little. I'm going to prepare these pans with our Bake Easy spray, which is like a vegetable spray. This will make sure that the cake releases cleanly from the pan. One pro tip is to make sure that all of your ingredients are at room temperature before you start. This will just make sure everything blends together nicely, and it'll give you a lighter, more tender texture in your cake. You also want to make sure to measure your ingredients carefully. For dry ingredients, I like to spoon it into a measuring cup and then level off the top. Or you can use a scale if you prefer. Changing the ratios of the ingredients will change the structure and the taste of the recipe, so we want to try and avoid that. You want to make sure you use real chocolate in the recipe, which is usually in those bars you can find in the baking aisle, and not chocolate chips. I don't think I've ever bad-talked the chocolate chip before, but they do have other ingredients added and they just won't produce the same results in this recipe. Save those for your cookies. If you need a good chocolate chip cookie recipe, we've linked a video with me below. I'm going to go ahead and combine 2½ cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and ½ teaspoon of salt in a medium bowl. Then in a microwave-safe bowl, we're going to combine 6 ounces of chocolate and 3/4 cup of butter. We're going to microwave this at half power for 1 minute and then give it a stir. Then after that, just keep microwaving at half power in 30-second intervals, stirring after each time, just until the mixture is smooth and melted. I didn't really feel like messing with a double boiler for this, but that could be an option too. Now I'm going to transfer this chocolate butter mixture to a mixing bowl, and then I'm going to add 1½ cups of sugar and beat it with an electric mixer on medium speed until well blended. Next we can add our 3 eggs, 1 at a time, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and mix that together. Then it's time to add our flour mixture, and we're going to do this alternately with our 1½ cups of milk. I like to do flour, milk, flour, milk, flour, just to make sure nothing puffs up in your face. Then beat this until it's smooth and well blended. Just don't go too crazy here. Overbeating the batter will make it denser and it won't rise as well. Don't forget to scrape the sides down a little just to make sure it's all incorporated. Then we can divide our mixture into the prepared pans. I'm just going to eyeball this, but if you want to be more precise, you could use a scale or the toothpick test we showed in our yellow cake video. If you wanted to use bake even strips, this would be the time to put them on, but just be aware you'll probably need to add about 7 minutes to your bake time. As we place our cakes in the oven, just be sure to leave about 1 inch of space between the 2 pans. This will help with airflow and just making sure you get a nice even bake. We're going to bake these for about 33 to 37 minutes or until a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean. Trust me, as much as it's tempting to cut into this right away, chocolate cake tends to be tender and slightly crumbly, so it's really best to let your cake fully cool so that it can set properly. I'm going to leave these guys in the pans for about 10 minutes, then I'll take them out and move them over to a cooling grid to cool completely. Once your cake is completely cool, you can break out the icing. You don't want to try and frost this guy until it is fully cooled, otherwise your icing is just going to melt right off the cake, which will give the cake a weird sticky texture. If I'm feeling in the mood for a bit of a chocolate explosion, which is always, I usually just whip up a batch of Wilton's chocolate buttercream frosting. To make it nice and pretty, you can either add some sprinkles or my favorite, chocolate curls, or find more inspiration on Wilton.com. Okay, I've waited long enough. Let's cut a slice of this guy. Ooh, look at that chocolatey goodness. I hope this video was helpful and that it becomes your go-to chocolate cake recipe as it is mine. If you have any questions or suggestions for other videos you'd like to see next, please leave a comment below and we'll be sure to get back to you. If you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and share this video with all your chocolate-loving friends. Well, thank you, I promise. And be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done so. I'm Katie from Wilton. Happy baking!